Well, hello and welcome to the first proper video on my new car, the Daihatsu Sirion that we collected on Monday this week. Today's Wednesday. Been waiting to try and make a full video on this car, but the weather has just been Welsh. As you can hear, it is properly wet. Cleaning up the wiper blades has improved them quite a lot, but I still need to try and track down some new blades, front and rear. But we're on the post run today, so we've just been packing up the merchandise, including the last few Foxan shirts. We've got one blue Foxan shirt left in a medium, and we've got a handful of black ones left. I've discounted the black ones. Foxan, of course, has now sadly departed. We've also got some Foxan mugs, so if you want some Foxan merch, now is the time to buy, because obviously we won't be restocking it. One of the packages we're sending today is to Foxan's owner. Oh, road closed. Oh, interesting. How am I meant to get to the post office then? I guess we'll find out. Why I'm bringing you along on this mission is I was hoping to come back up Church Street, one of the steepest streets around these parts, because yeah, we want to see if this car, Miss Daisy, can actually go up hills. It is said that she cannot, but yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, that is definitely sluggish. Something is amiss. So one common thing on these is the throttle body can get all gummed up, and we've got an uneven idle. People, come on car, people were noticing that I'm knocking it into neutral every time I stop. That's not something I generally do in an automatic. An automatic has enough slip that you can sit stationary at traffic lights in drive and not have to take it out. But I think because something's a bit iffy with the idle, she's trying to really push through the brakes, and it also sounds very laboured. So I think throttle body might be to blame for that. I usually only put an automatic into neutral if we're stopped for a long time. Oh, also we've got white Hubnut mugs and Power Less is More mugs. The larger capacity mugs are back in stock. Bilingo shirts have sadly been delayed, but we hope they will arrive at some point. Technical issues at the printer. Bit frustrating because we would like to get those on the market now. Obviously there's a lot of love for Bella the Bilingo. Here we go then. Up Church Street. Can we achieve 20? Oh, there we go. Kick down into first. You can't lock it into first, which is a real annoyance. So we're stuck in this. Accelerate into second, and then it can't pull second gear. So that is, I think that might just be a small thing. It's just irritating you can't actually lock it into first. Nope. I've done it again. Can't find the wipers. Oh, that's not drive apparently. There we go. Up another steep hill. Yeah, if you don't have your foot right down, it won't kick down. So some people mentioned mat. It is possible the mat got jammed under the throttle, and that would limit the throttle response, and the kickdown comes right at the end of the travel. So if you had got a mat there, the chances are it wouldn't kick down. It would just end up labouring in too tall a gear. So and definitely finding the limitations of this gearbox in Welsh terrain. I don't think it's really what it was designed for. It is worth pointing out I've got the air conditioning on at the moment, because of course you don't just have air conditioning for coolness, you have air conditioning because it dries the air out, so it actually speeds up the performance of the heater. So it's changed into third. Third's never going to do it here. Yeah, it doesn't like hills very much, does it? It'll lock her into second. That's as low as I can go, but it wants to use first. But yeah, As long as you floor it, she will kick down into first. If you don't, she'll labour and labour and labour in second. So we have brought Miss Daisy to Cambrian Classics. Tim very kindly offered to get her on the lift so we can have a poke around and see what the underside is like. The welding bill was around £500 for the most recent MOT, and follows up on a few advisories she's had over the years. So stage one is assessing whether it's actually safe to lift it on the 4-post lift at all. Hopefully the answer is yes, but we shall soon find out. Well, we've got the lift is going up. We're just checking the leg position before it starts lifting Miss Daisy in the air.
Stills are still there, that's the main thing.
That's good. I have found the first bit of rust though, look. Some bubbling up around the windscreen, entirely expected on one of these. That might need addressing. I also noticed the roof itself hasn't been cleaned. This car got a courtesy wash when it was serviced, but cleaned by someone who couldn't reach the middle of the roof. Maybe get that person a step. Right, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, she's actually going in the air. No crunching sounds. So I genuinely have not been under this car yet. Notice it's got the same slightly offset front number plate, because the radiator's here again. There's a tiny little plinth here. It only covers that area for a Japanese market number plate. There we go. Oh gosh, those springs look... Oh no, no, no.
The body's still red in there, it's not particularly rusty.
That's good. I have to get some new wheel trims. Some of these have had a hard life. Look at that, dry as a bone under here.
Got some plastic flapping in the breezer.
Apparently so. Fortunately, we have a huge bag of Daihatsu trim clips.
And the ones you couldn't find where to put back on the other one.
Yeah. Well, I actually bought replacements, and I did buy far too many, thinking, what am I going to do with them? The answer presents itself. Ooh. Where's that coming from?
Strap top bearing.
Yeah.
It just sounds a bit dry. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel rough. I think it's just...
Oh, well, look at this. All this bare metal under here.
It's remarkably rust-free.
Not a drop of rust down there.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll keep assessing the front end.
Yeah, normally check all the four wheels and then bring it up above your head.
Yeah.
Do it in a methodical way. You check most things.
Is that offside? Is that just that offside top mount?
Yeah. Bit of spray might key out that one. But to be fair, it's very tidy.
Oh, got some scuffage there. Perhaps not surprising on the London car. I may have found a source of bright work. Someone breaking one of these.
Yeah, even the original brake pipes are in nice condition. It's got to be garaged or something.
Yeah, it must have been.
It's still got the green plastic coating. You know,
I think it's lived in London only since 2017.
Right.
Where it's been on a driveway, so at least it's off the road. Okay,
there's been some rust repair here around the back of the fuel filler.
Yeah, fuel filler was actually a recall on these.
There's a patch here that's gone round.
That's quite significant, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not untidy at all, is it? It's not around the back there, around the chassis. If you want to look back there, so
oh wow,
quite tidy. A good power wash and some wax on it'll last a long time.
It's actually been fully seam welded there.
No, they've missed a bit.
Okay, let's keep an eye on before it fires.
Same up here as well. There's a bit on the top, so water's going to run down inside that. So it's 90%.
I wonder if it's had the recall done on the filler neck. Bizarrely, on my last one, even though the car was completely rotten, I took it to a former Daihatsu dealer and they changed the filler neck for me.
Free filler neck then?
Yeah, but that turns out to be rather like trying to put a fire out with a pipette. We've got a bit more body damage here. It's obviously had a bit of a thump. That's going to need dealing with before the Welsh winter, otherwise that's going to go very nasty. The trick being, where would you merge the paint? Oh, sure, Lewis would have some tricks for that.
Yes. Yeah, blend it in. You can get a paint match for it.
It doesn't
have to be a concourse job, does it?
No. So any signs of similar work over this side, or is this still...
No, it looks quite...
Ooh.
It's a bit flaky.
Maybe it will be needing work there.
Yeah, I'll see when we put it up, but I suspect it started to bulge the chassis rail there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cable tie and the exhaust mounting going on there.
These wheel arches are extraordinary. Exactly what's going on underneath that plastic trim, we don't know.
Mildly corroded brake pipe, but you're getting picky then, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay, here we go then. It kind of looks like something's been done there, doesn't it?
That's like loads of factory underseal was blown over it.
Yeah. Have they just sprayed underseal over it and I hope it would slow it down?
I think so. I don't think that's been welded. That's just there's a layer. Take it off rather than it being a rust trap. Yeah, because it's made up of lots of different layers, and I think it's started to blow between the two. But finger and thumb pressure for an MOT, it's. I would say giving it a clean up and an underseal and seal it properly.
Fill it with wax.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, there's a bit of surface corrosion under here, but it's really not bad at all, is it?
Oh, yeah. Fuel filler pipe is looking a bit worse for wear.
As they do. It seems to be a Daihatsu and Toyota weakness. My RAV4, I think, had to replace the filler neck.
It's had wheel cylinders.
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
it's had a wheel
the
cylinder.
history.
That one's looking rusty, but the other one's fresh.
Yes, I don't know what was going on there, because it mentioned it on the service, but said it was free of charge. We're like, okay.
Right, okay.
There must be a story behind that.
Could be under warranty. It might have failed under warranty, possibly.
Yeah, spindly little shockers, aren't they?
Tiny. Got ones that size on the boot of the Volvo.
It's also got in the history that all the exhaust mounts have been replaced.
With a cable tie.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Didn't even trim them. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. It's starting to perish, that mounting. Right, go about it logically. Look down the middle first, and go along the sides. Exhaust is tidy. Very few oil leaks on it.
Yeah.
Bit around the sump plug, but bloody hell, for an old car,
Yeah, not
it's
bad
very
at all.
rust free.
Oh, interesting. What's happened here?
What have we got?
Looks like someone slipped with the angle grinder or something.
Yeah, it's knocked all the underseal off. I'd say the exhaust mounts have failed, and the silencer's been banging up against there because it's in the same place as the radius there.
Oh, that's something else to keep an eye on. Although there's a bit of minor impact damage there, but look at it. That doesn't look like a factory sort of a crease.
Old
Gone into
damage.
that hard, hasn't it?
Good effort because it's tucked right up under, isn't it?
I can't get over this. Remarkable. But yeah, extensive winter use in Wales would not do this car any favours, even if we dropped it into a vat of anti-corrosion wax.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult to tell because the car's wet, but I wonder whether this brake pipe is leaking. I mean, it's difficult to tell because there's just water everywhere, but that ball joint gate has gone, which will be a complete arm.
Joy. Is it actually?
And this side, the rubber's going as well. It might be different on these, but quite often with that type of arm, it's you can't change the ball joint. That gate is starting to go. It's cracked and failing.
I can see that. Overall, though,
it's minor stuff, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. And I was going through the history this morning. In July this year, this car had that welding done we've seen, and it also had timing belt and water pump. So it's not wanting for very much.
Let's have a look at these sills then.
Yeah, could do with a little something, couldn't it?
Yeah. Wire brush and some underseal. Probably be, if you're feeling brave, worth taking the plastic covers off. But from what I can see, if you look up, like there's still paint here underneath.
Yeah, I mean, a good clue is when this seam starts blowing out, isn't it?
No, I would suspect it's good under there. It doesn't. Yeah, no, it's just some underseal, and this will last a long time.
Yeah, just needs catching now, doesn't it?
Small seam sealer that's peeling off.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? Because it just lets the moisture in.
It sits behind it then.
Yeah, and then you get a kind of capillary action where the water gets in and it starts rotting out under here, and you don't know until you pull this off. Suddenly you discover it's all rotten behind it. It's interesting, seems slightly worse on this side, doesn't it? That was an interesting noise. Ooh, debris.
Thanks for bringing the car in when it's wet.
Yeah, that's not a great sign, having moisture trapped in.
Looking behind it, there's no hole there. It's just where all the sand and stuff's been kicked up with the wheel. Because there's a hole here where the jacking point is, and I suppose it just flings it down, down the cavity. Crunchy noises.
Yeah.
Nothing going through though, it just seems to be a lot of surface rust.
Yeah, I'm not panicking about standing underneath it yet.
You got your money's worth.
Yeah, well, undoubtedly, I'd say this is some way beyond that.
Yeah,
so this gift horse is looking pretty darn tidy, really.
Yeah, bit of, I mean, yes, you know, a bit of touch up on the welding and some sealer would help that, even for like the pinholes to stop it from tracking in. And you got nice big holes there for cavity waxing. Yeah. Get the cavity waxing going.
Holes everywhere, look at this.
Yeah, yeah.
Must be drilled for lightness. That must be what it is.
Oh, Daihatsu Super Leggera.
Yeah. One tiny little engine. You'll see a slightly different intake setup compared to our Charade, and it hasn't got the variable valve timing. But yeah, that's a nice looking
air conditioning.
Air conditioning, yeah, and it works. It's not the coldest, it could probably benefit from a regas, but it does work. Oh dear, I need to clear out here. Sludge trap, look at that. We won't do that in here.
Don't want to dirty the dirty floor.
Yeah. Ooh,
I think ATF's meant to be in the gearbox, isn't it?
Ah, interesting. Where's that leaking from?
Excellent question. It's on the webbing on the top of the gearbox.
Okay. It's dirty enough to suggest it's not spillage from filling.
Maybe, unless someone's topped it up recently, but there's a...
It came with a fresh bottle that hasn't been opened. Or could it be possible that some clumsy idiot hasn't actually put the dipstick back properly?
Yeah, it was in.
Okay.
But it's in that general area, unless someone was... Sort of, if you look down from the dipstick, if someone had a funnel and they were trying to...
Oh yes, a fair old puddle down there, isn't there? Just in this sort of area. There isn't an awful lot of gearbox above that point. I thought might as well get the plugs out just for a look. Air filter's definitely been changed, that's good. Spark plugs weren't exactly fitted tightly. Yeah, the crush washer hasn't crushed. And the gap seems somewhat generous.
There's a bit of a smell of combustion gas when I took that coil pack out. Like it was blowing by a little bit.
Yeah, it was this first one, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just noticed the throttle has been recently adjusted, and it's been wound out.
You can see the evidence. Shiny bit of thread.
Because the idle speed we noticed when it was coming in was about 1,000 RPM, and it should be about 850. Chances are the throttle body's all gummed up.
Yeah,
it's had cheap petrol put in it and stuff like that. They tend to build up carbon inside. And someone's probably wound that out to try and give you more throttle. With an automatic, it's probably cutting out a traffic lights and stuff.
Yeah,
because you haven't got the clutch control to overcome it. So clean the throttle body out and readjust the cable.
Yeah. Well, we know something's not right because I've mentioned earlier in this video, I was knocking it into neutral a lot when I was driving around London, and that was because it's not happy idling in drive when you're stationary. So yeah, that's probably because the idle's now so high, because I could feel it really trying to push through the brakes, which it's going to do if the idle's set.
But because you've got a throttle position switch, so when it knows when you haven't got your foot on the throttle and it should be idling, and then when you should be applying throttle. If someone's over tensioned the throttle cable, it thinks you're trying to accelerate all the time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be trying to pull away from you.
Yeah. So what that's effectively doing, that is opening the blade slightly, isn't it? So it's probably not using the stepper motor at all, if it is a stepper motor, whatever it is, the actual idle control.
Exactly. But chances are it's because very common, especially on small petrol engines, that the throttle body would be full of junk. Be tempting just to pop the hose off and have a look inside, I think. There's like pasty blackness going on in there.
Oh dear.
So that will have been blocking around the disc at an idle aperture, because it's pretty much all the way shut when you're at idle. And that makes the engine cut out then, because it's mechanically blocked. So take that off, give it a wash out and reset it.
With the throttle body off, you can definitely see it is mucky.
Lots of black sludge going on there.
Not ideal.
So we'll give that a clean out and see what it does to the idle speed. And
yeah, because that's presumably the idle control valve there. So if that's all the passageways are gunked up, that is not going to be helping that do what it needs to do.
No, it's also been adjusted off of the idle, the idle position on the switch, which again will confuse things. Let's give that a wash out. And
yeah, that's people addressing the symptom without addressing the cause.
Correct.
We've got the throttle assembly cleaned. We've got the throttle disconnected, because we're just going to see where the idle is now. So everything clear?
Yep.
A little high, but she's showing cold on the temperature gauge. That's about 1200 revs at the moment.
1200?
1200, yeah. Which is a fairly typical cold idle. Just noticed a bit of a hiss. Come on.
No obvious
changing, is there?
air leaks.
I think she's up to operating temperature now. Yeah. I'm still idling about 1200. Hair under 1000 revs now. Put the aircon on and it picks up the idle as it should. Load it up with electricals and it's not picking up quite so much. Right, I think we're done with that now. Thank you very much, Tim. We'll see how she goes and see whether that improves matters or not when it comes to this little car and her tiny engine not wanting to go up hills. Which could just be because it's a tiny engine but doesn't want to go up hills. But
we were just discussing off camera it might well need a bit of self-learning, possibly. It might improve now we've cleaned all the gunk out of it.
Yeah, I've found the diagnostic port, so I can plug in and have a look at stuff and see what.
Worth double checking all the temperature sensors are reading what they should, and that type of thing is the next step.
Excellent. Well, thank you. That's been more useful than just a poke about underneath I was expecting. But yeah, fundamentally sound car. There are a few jobs to do. So has cleaning the throttle body made any difference? I don't think it's made a significant difference. The idle still seems a little bit lumpy. I don't think we've quite got to the bottom of what the issue is yet, but at least we've ruled out another thing. But yeah, still pretty much the same. Actually, I'm just going to cut in here to say I think it has made a difference. If I bring the car to a stop, I'll just pull over here and do so. It seems much happier staying in drive than it did. That's why I was doing all that neutral shifting around London. It felt really unhappy idling, and it doesn't seem to be pushing through the brakes. The creep isn't as strong, so perhaps some good work has been achieved today. I'm still very, very glad we did it. But yeah, initial impressions are Little Miss Daisy is a pretty solid car and in need of some effort, I will say, to keep her preserved nice and fresh. We've got to deal with that dent on the back. That patch that's been welded in, it isn't entirely seam welded. I don't think that matters as long as you get that area entirely soaked in wax, but or we may get it re-welded and just get those bits done. That probably makes more sense, get those bits re-welded. But yeah, I think I'll book in with Tim for some anti-corrosion wax. Much as I love crown rust proofing, it's a long way to go from here. So yeah, we might do some rust proofing more locally instead. In which case a hoist like that makes all the difference. Trying to wax the underside of a car when you can't get it in the air, very, very difficult. But she's worth preserving, she's worth persevering with. So it's exactly what we'll do. But anyway, that is it for another episode with Miss Daisy here, the little Daihatsu Sirion. We're not going to be using her extensively as daily transport. I kind of am at the moment while the new car novelty is still there. But when things start getting grimmer in the winter, this won't be the car to use quite so much. But yeah, kick down, double kick down, there we go. Yeah, not a bad little car at all. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your great many comments. Huge thanks to channel members and patrons for their continued support. It really does help us keep making these videos. We shall see you in a future video. Farewell. No Pachu, you're miles away. So just enjoy some more Daihatsu sounds.